Kia ora, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Late Afternoon Glass Off.
To the maxi kazee.
Very, very late afternoon glass off, might I add. It's 7:40. We just had a trip to KFC, which was a bit off the cuff. We haven't done it before. I dare say it won't be the last time we do that, though, Zachary.
Yeah, it will be the last time.
It will be?
Yeah, for me.
No, it won't be. You actually suggested we go there.
Yep.
Do you want to take any accountability for that, or
Not really.
no? Okay.
No comment. I feel like a bag of dicks after eating that.
I feel incredible. I won't lie to you. I'm
Okay.
fully charged up with me stacker burger box, is it?
Sure.
Bacon stacker box. I don't know. Pretty psycho feed, though. I'm ready to go. We got a full recap of the Raglan event.
We've got a few juicy bits to add into this podcast.
Yeah.
I think we need to start it off by announcing that we have version 4 of the LAGO Podcast that you might be just kind of seeing. You might see some white VJ sheets behind me if you're on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Nice to be in a nicer space.
Yeah, we will sort out a third camera angle. We've got 3 cameras. Various things have happened over the last couple of weeks that have prevented said third camera angle from being used. Today's issue was I have misplaced one of our SD cards. So that is why we're running 2 angles. You won't be able to see Zach's handiwork behind us. It's pretty good, I won't lie.
Thank you.
He's done a good job. But yeah,
There
we
was
had
many swear words involved.
Yeah, I can
But we
imagine.
got
I can imagine. We had Cooper Chapman in the studio today, which will be getting released next week.
Yep.
That'll be next week's episode. Really good chat with him. We've also got Matty Scorringe. He came in for a post-event wrap for us. We're obviously going to do our bit, but it's always good to have an expert and a local hero on the pod for to break down Raglan, because he's one of the main men over there. So always good to get his insights. That will be coming up at the end of this podcast. But firstly, yeah, we're going to go through our review. Just a few housekeeping things off the bat.
Sure, we've got one more announcement, but yeah. Go for it.
Mate, we can probably tag it on the housekeeping.
Sure, tag it on housekeeping.
Well, I don't know what it is, so go for it.
We're going on a surf trip.
Oh, yeah. Tell everyone where we're going.
We have swindled our way into a free surf trip.
I don't like the word swindled, Zach. I feel like we've earned the surf trip.
We have earned the surf trip.
But given we haven't had much up until this point,
This is probably the most generous thing someone has given the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, monetary wise, yes, definitely.
Yes.
In terms of how much the trip was worth, but we're very thankful to LaPointe for getting us to jump across the ditch to...
Not to New Zealand.
No, not the small
Much
ditch.
fucking further than that.
It's a grand underestimation there from me of ditch. It's essentially the Pacific Ocean.
It's almost the furthest you can go.
Yeah, so we're going to Nicaragua.
And Costa Rica.
Afterwards. So we're going to provide a bit of content out of that. Well, a lot of content.
Fucking oath. Plenty.
We're going to earn our keep, put it that way.
Yep.
So
yeah, big thank you to LaPointe for hosting us and providing this opportunity for us. We even get to take over the intern. I can't wait for that.
should we leave? Let's not say who the intern is, though. Let's just keep it a
We
secret.
don't have that many, so I feel like most of our listeners are going to put 2 and 2 together there. But yeah, big thanks to LaPointe. They're going to provide us an experience that is going to be fantastic, no doubt. The reason why we're going on this surf trip was they reached out to us and they said, or we reached out to them, vice versa. Don't really know. And they want to try and illustrate the point that they are not just a traditional surf camp.
Yes.
In the sense that you go over, you do your yoga in the morning, you get pushed into waves, and it's 1 foot whitewash, Kuta Beach.
Yep.
There is that option, which after a big night out, maybe we do.
Sure.
But what they're trying to explain is there's packages for advanced surfers as well, like us. And all they're trying to do is say, come on over, review the advanced package, in which I believe it's just teeing us up with a local surf guide.
Yeah.
He's just going to be like, all right, it's 4 foot, 6 foot, the wind's XYZ, go there. Which I'm all for. I wish I had that opportunity on plenty of other trips that I've done. especially trips with my partner where you're just kind of looking out to sea going, is that even a wave?
Yes.
So I'm really excited. They're really excited. We're there to review their product, which is the surf camp experience.
Yep.
And I reckon we're going to have an absolute belter.
I think so too. So, yeah, there's that. Very excited about that. That's the first bit of housekeeping. Second bit of housekeeping, we've had a few people reach out. We've promised merch. We haven't delivered on the merch.
We have not yet.
We have the merch. We have part of the merch. Zach's wearing it. We have a cupboard full of merch. The main reason we haven't released said merch yet is because we have hats coming. Now, Mitchie from Made by Plasma has been really helping us out with this run. He's had a critical failure of one of his machines, which has meant that the hats haven't been able to be made just yet. We could launch the hoodies and the tees, but obviously, given the popularity of the hats in the past, we don't want to release the hoodies, crew get whatever they want to grab off us, but then when the hats come out, we don't want you guys to essentially have to pay for postage twice. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to stagger it so that it's all together and then we're releasing just one big hit. Hopefully, I don't think the hat's going to be too much longer.
Nah.
But we ideally would have had it out a week or so ago, but there's nothing we could have done about this, and it's is what it is. But we will have it all together, ready to go very soon. We'll make it very apparent on our Instagram and stuff. But that is why the merch hasn't come out yet. We just don't want to have to, you guys get a hoodie or a t-shirt and then go, I want a hat too. I'm going to have to pay another $10 or whatever dollars it is for shipping.
It's around about $10.
Yeah. So
and breakdowns happen.
That's it. So yeah, always thankful for Mitchie. So whenever that problem resolves itself, beautiful. But that is why. The other thing, had a few people reach out this week. You may have noticed that the LAGO podcast has had some ads running. Yes. So had a few people reach out.
You might get cut off right now.
Yeah. Not overly stoked with the ads, considering how critical we've been at the WSL about their sort of love for commercial breaks. Mm-hmm. We're just trying to figure out what is too hectic. Well, it's more of a trial period right now. We are basically, truth be told, we are going to have to run ads of some description if we want to continue to do this, because we're currently spending far more than this podcast is making us. So we need to retrieve some of those funds back. Now, ads is a good way to do that. Unfortunately, the placement of them can be a bit annoying. So we're just trying to figure out where's the best. I think we're going to go start and end. We're going to try and limit the ones in the actual pod. But the ads will allow us to keep doing the pod and sort of bring a little bit more value to you guys. So sorry in advance, but we do have to do it.
I agree. This beautiful LAGO studio that we're sitting in was not free.
No.
It was quite DIY though, I will say, although correct. Not all of it. So quite a few Anko products were purchased.
Yeah.
And they weren't free. Cheap, but not free.
Exactly. So apologies in advance. Just know the product will get better. So any sort of dissatisfaction with the ads hopefully will be outweighed with the actual LAGO as a product.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yep.
That's the other housekeeping thing. The final one, just a shout out to a young lad from my home country down in Cornwall in England. Mm-hmm. His name is Isaac Friend. Mm-hmm. He is doing a challenge. He's surfing every day to raise money for children in need.
He's still going.
Still going. We've posted him in the past, but he's still going. Just wanted to give him a shout out. His name is at Isaac Friend Surfer on Instagram. Check him out. And he's doing his GCSE exams right now in England, which I think is like their sort of HSC equivalent. So he's kind of like, he's in this realm of like wanting to keep doing the challenge, but sort of obviously has to prioritize his exams. So he's doing really well, but just wanted to give him a bit of encouragement, get some sort of raise some awareness for what he's doing. And yeah, if you can, check him out. He's doing good stuff.
What is he doing again?
Surfing every day for children in need. Mm-hmm. So just raising funds, and he's surfing. If you're familiar with the surf in England, generally not the best. Also weather not the best, and water is freezing. So for him, he's on like day 145 or something. For him to have done that every day is pretty impressive, and yeah, he's doing God's work. So good on you, Isaac.
That's shout out worthy for sure.
100%. All right, now Raglan, let's get into it. We're not mucking around here. Surprises, disappointments. Off the top, Italo Ferreira, biggest surprise of this event for myself. I don't know if you can copy.
I don't know if we can throw him in a surprise.
The only reason I say he's a surprise is that he was able to overcome the likes of Gabriel Medina, Iago Dorant. Didn't necessarily beat them, although he beat Iago. But I didn't see him standing at the end of the event with a trophy. That's a surprise. I didn't think he was going to win the event. Although Matt Scorringe did. He actually had him winning the event. But for me, I just thought his lack of flow on waves was going to really hurt his scoring potential. And it was the subject of great debate throughout this event. I've got some numbers on that, but I just thought he was the ultimate video game surfer in this event. He looked like me playing Kelly Slater Pro Surfer in like 2010.
Do you know when you just spam like X or square?
Yeah.
And just see what happens?
That's
Italy.
100%. It doesn't look overly pretty, as we said before, but I think the judges, they just simply had to reward the surfing he was doing. It was incredibly difficult. Again, not as flowy and not as good looking as some of the other surfers in the draw, but you can't really deny the degree of difficulty that he's going for on these waves, and especially a lot of it being the first section of the wave.
Yeah. And we'll insert what Matty had to say about this event soon, but he summed it up so well, and it just came down to discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just goes out in the shit, the good, the unfavourable, the fun, you name it. He just goes out and surfs and has fun. So I really think that's like what you're starting to see right now.
100%. Yeah, look, we saw with Iago how easily he was getting numbers. Italo, he has to do so much more than Iago to achieve similar scores. So he was spamming the air reverse button a lot.
I don't know. I feel like, does he?
I think he does. Like, if you look at a lot of Iago's, it was very stock surfing for him. He just makes it look so nice. And then you get to the end of the wave and you're like, whoa, like that was an 8.5. And he didn't really get out of first gear. Obviously, a few examples of waves in that event, he went right to the top gear and just bloody ripped the fence down. But yeah, I thought Italo just had to do so much to get scores, and he just delivered. He was doing a lot every wave. He was doing so many turns and so many airs. And yeah, they kind of had to reward it.
Evident on that reel that you made where we said this is what Italo did on one wave. And I think it was air reverse of 3 different varieties.
Yes. Pop shove it at the end. With multiple turns scattered in there.
Yeah, turns in between it. Yeah. So it was like 8 maneuvers on one wave.
It was incredible.
Didn't even get did he get a
I think it was an okay score. Yeah, the judges didn't rob him, but yeah, he had to do a lot to earn that score. He got the highest heat total of the entire men's event in the final. So peaking at the right time. And as much as you want to criticize his style and the surfing that he was doing, there was not a single heat in there where he had any question marks if he was progressing. He dominated every single heat that he surfed in. The only one was really Iago's heat, and it was still a bit of a, like, he smoked him really in the end. Now, I went back through the event and counted how many air reverses he landed.
Oh, God.
So this isn't attempts. This is just variations of that throw toe air reverse that he has unlocked. There was, I'll put a couple asterisks here. One full rope was in there, so that's obviously a really impressive maneuver, no matter who you are. Couple of them were throw the tail and then spin back the other way. I think it was like 3 in total. But accumulative.
Are you talking, was there any blow tails in there? Because they're different to air reverses, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Air reverse, the whole board has to be above the lip, unless you're doing like a super out to the flats one, but like it can't be one of those like aggressive blow tails.
You probably call him a blow tail, but it was like how similar the setup is that he's doing each time. They all just blend into one.
Sure.
29 variations throughout the entire event. He surfed, what's that, 4 or 5 heats?
I don't think that's a good stat, is it?
It's a lot of airs. 29 in an event landed.
I love that he's done 29, but of the same thing, that to me is like, at what point is he going, are they fucking hating this?
They just never seem to hate it because they just kept giving him scores. And
I reckon he needs to do an event at Stab High. Because, like, let's be real, 29 out of those 29, he probably wouldn't have got more than it's 50, hey? 50's the highest?
There's probably, I'd say, like, over, like, probably 3/4, if not more, would have been less than a 5 on Stab High. Less than 50? A 4, yeah, like a 50. Less than a...
No, 50's top. That's 2.
Oh, that's 25 then, sorry.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Like, I don't get what the judges are seeing here.
I'd say probably half of them would have been less than a 10.
Yeah, like, I don't get it. You like what you're saying, Max. Yeah, what you're saying now makes perfect sense. Like, he's just doing a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, it's a numbers thing.
Yeah.
It's just, if you do a lot of them, then, like, technically it's hard to do. So degree of difficulty, tick.
Very high.
8 points.
Yeah, exactly right. Next surfer who was a surprise, but not really, Morgan Siblick. We suggested on our Instagram that he would go well here based on how good his backhand is, alongside Rio Wader, who Morgan actually beat, and Billy Stammen, who Morgan beat too. So technically, we're 100% there.
He gets all the chocolates.
He gets all the chocolates. I honestly didn't think he'd go this well, though. Now, narrowly beat Rio in the dying stages of his quarter-final heat, which, look, again, we posted this. I don't think it was much of a mistake, really, from Rio. He did the right thing. When you have less than 10 seconds or 20 seconds to go in a heat and you see a wave and you have priority, you take that wave. It doesn't matter. Especially on a long point break, too. You don't know what that wave's going to do. You just take it. And he did that. It just was unfortunate that with about 3 seconds to go, the next one rolled through and Morgan had Morgan's name on it and he surfed it up to an 8, which is like... In surfing, you play the percentage game, and a lot of the times that's Rio's going to progress through that heat. It's just one of these unfortunate times that, for Rio anyway, that Morgan was able to get the score, and he smacked it. So progressed through that one, and then in the final, he sort of put the pressure on Italo fairly early. Although they both got waves early on. I personally, and so did Scorringe, thought that the scores probably should have been the other way around, or Morg should have been about a point higher than Italo's, and I agree in that regard.
Talking final?
Talking final.
I nearly spat my coffee out when I saw 933. I'm usually within a point. I threw like a low 7 at him.
Yes. Well, I just thought it was so impressive, and again, what we see on TV is oftentimes different to how it feels and how it looks at the event side, and from all reports from Matty, like this, the surfing that Morgan was doing was so high impact that, in his opinion, it should have been a point higher. And he was there, and he's a very good judge of this type of surfing. So, look, as it went anyway, Italo progressed on to dominate the final, so maybe doesn't win. But it gives you the psychological edge. If you start off with a higher score of the heat, you approach the rest of the heat differently.
True.
Yeah.
Are we running through the final now, or do you want to come back to that?
Well, I sort of didn't really, I don't know. I didn't have too much to say about the final other than what I really just said.
Who did you think won?
I think Italo won the final.
I think Italo won.
Yeah. I think he won the final. I just thought the split there between, Italo's 9.3 and Morgan's 8.8, they weren't back-to-back or whatever, but they were sort of in the same heat, so you can base the scale off them. I just thought maybe Morg's they should have been closer. Italo's punt, his 8.17, sorry. I didn't have it going that high also. But in saying that, I am a bit biased because I wanted Morgan to win the heat. So
I definitely wanted Morgan to win, but like we've said on this podcast, we are honest surf talk.
Mm-hmm.
Italo still got the jump.
Yeah.
Those numbers just... The heat total of Italo just shouldn't have been that high. It was just so... repetitive, and it was so stock for him. He's unfortunately one of those surfers that we've categorized as it's him against him.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate truth, but it is true. And the fact that we didn't see him break from the cycle was, like Matty goes to say in our catch up with him very shortly that we'll put in, it smelled of trestles when the final 5 was on, and he just kept doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was shocked that he didn't pivot. He did try one Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Supermans have periodically been woeful.
Yeah.
Don't get over a 5. Just ask Troy Brooks and Geordie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So I found it interesting that he didn't go for one oop, and I guess the wind would have been tricky. Not all variations of the air are going to be easy to do in those conditions, but I found it strange that he didn't at least go for one full rotation.
Yeah.
It was the same thing.
I've watched so much surfing, and I feel like now there's a point where you get to, and you just know when a wave's a 9 or a very, very high excellent score. And when Morgan, he linked those first sort of 3 turns together, immediately just it's got to be a 9 already. And that's without the finish. Obviously he goes on to finish it, but the fact that the score came in under that was disappointing, I thought. Although, again, you can't discount how the approach changes from that point, because if he starts off with a mid-9, you're going, okay, I set the rest of this heat up differently, but because Italo's score was quite close, and then Italo goes on and gets pretty much a mid-9, it becomes, all right, I really now have to, rather than like try and outsurf Italo on the waves that are coming, I have to now wait for a really high quality wave to get the score I need now. Which potentially came. We'll leave that section for our chat with Matty later, because we asked him what his thoughts were on the final wave that Morgs missed. But yeah, bit of an interesting insight there from Matty, but just really felt like Morgs found a bit of that 2021 form, which saw him achieve a top 5 finish. I feel like he's back.
Yeah, and I didn't think it would take this long, to be honest, but I'm fucking glad he's back.
100%.
It's always been there. It's just been sleepy or a little bit dormant. Yep. And I'm really excited to see how the end of the year kind of plays out. And you know what? Thank God the fucking cut is gone, because we wouldn't have seen that. Correct me if I'm wrong. He wouldn't have been there.
No.
Because Margie's was the last event before the cut.
They have changed the schedule. So Margie's obviously event 2 this year, so doesn't scale in that regard. But we're at event 4. He would have been there, but only just. Like, this would probably be the last event. So it would have been him saving. Gotcha. It would have been like saving his own bacon here.
Sorry, I was just thinking, because it's always around Margie's.
Yeah, Margie's has historically been the cut, but this time it was event 2. So he would have still been able to surf in this event, but it would have been a very different circumstance. We've been like, I really need a result here, which he potentially could have done anyway. But yeah, it's just good to see him get some of that initial form back that we know he can do. He spent a bit of time on the QS, back on the Challenger Series, in between, and he's back. And it seems like after dropping into that opening washing machine round just briefly, this event, he's going to well and truly be outside of that now.
Yeah, I wonder who's the fresh taste of
probably
the next event.
Whoever Morgan replaced is probably going to just slip back down. I can't remember, but yeah, it's going to be, someone's going to have to deal with that. Now, someone else who I think is back is Carissa Moore. Sort of feels like Steph winning Snapper, a little bit of a fuse under her.
I know.
It's like
I don't think we called this correctly at the start of the year.
No, well, I didn't even have Carissa in my fantasy team for this event.
There was just too many question marks.
No, to be fair though, Steph, I still think Steph's going to struggle, and I even made the point before this saying you could not possibly have Steph in your fantasy surfers in your tier A. That stood true. She looked not great, but Carissa on the other hand looked incredible. Average heat total for her for the event, 17.13. She had one heat where she threw away a 9, a 767, and a 737. And I don't think any other backsider in the ladies draw captured the back-end form that Carissa had throughout the entirety of this event. She was unstoppable.
It just looked like she was pushing the envelope of like how hard you can push on the back end.
Yeah.
And Morgs looked similar on his first wave of the final. Yeah. It's like you can't really do much more. No. Like any harder than that and you're just off the back of the wave.
Yeah. And Maddie has a really good recap of her later, but just looked like she was having the pick of the waves, really got to know the lineup better than most, and it really shone through in her performance. In terms of the final, she controlled the start of the heat really well, just pushed Sawyer deep. And I noticed she did this maybe in a semi or a quarter as well, but just made sure that the athlete who was on her inside wasn't going to get around the first wave they took off on, made him go really deep. And then once they used their inside position, Carissa with priority moved down the point and got an 8.5, I believe, on her first wave. And to me, that's kind of where the final was pretty much won and lost.
It's hard to come back when you hear those scores posted against you.
Definitely. Puts herself well and truly up into the title conversation now, and she's got the back 2/3 of the year to really get some big results, but she is someone who I think is going to be dangerous moving forward.
Can I just interject?
Yeah.
I think your boy is in the dishwasher round now. Your boyfriend.
Joel?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
I think he is.
No, he's not.
I think he is.
You can't have Joel in there.
Well, I'm telling you what I'm looking at. He's in 27th, and the people below him are all in that round. It goes Jow, Callum Robson, Seth, Eli, Alan, Luke, Ramsey, Oscar.
That's Al hasn't been in the washing machine round yet. He just keeps somehow being in the round 2.
True.
I don't know how he's doing it. It must have been from his rank last year, but yeah, he's escaped. It might be him that moves down there, to be honest. I'm surprised he's still in there.
True.
But yeah, Carissa, outstanding. Another one that was outstanding, Sawyer. Had her in my fantasy team. We'll get to that later. I feel like I might have done slightly better than you this event, but we will see. I suspected she might go well here, and that she did. Her frontside's really polished, really mature. Turn selection was unbelievable and was similar to Chris, of picking really good events. And I think she'll take a bit of confidence from this heading into El Salvador, where her backend's been quite good in the past. So really big ups there to Sawyer. Now to the underperformed category. They were our surprises. Here's the people that should have gone better. First one is the best guy, Oscar. Just cannot. He's lost every single way you can lose.
Yeah, this is starting to hurt him. Like we saw him lose in the flesh at Snapper, and like he was deflated.
Yeah,
this is the fourth one in a row. You would have to think this is starting to dwell on him significantly.
The issue with this one particularly is that he was in such a good position to make the heat, and this is one where you go home and you stare at the ceiling fan, and he knows what he did. Like it wasn't. The issue is the surfing's there. We know the surfing's there. It's fine. It's just like a few decision making things that he's gotten wrong, and this one was look, he let Eli go away under his priority in the dying stages, which Eli surfed incredibly well, mind you. The wave, I can understand like to him maybe thinking there's a second one behind it. So you let him go the first one, I'm on the second one. Even if you get the score, I improve on the second one, and we're exactly where we left off.
Yep.
Issue was, Eli got the score on his one. There was nothing behind it for Oscar, and it almost seemed just like Oscar was maybe slightly out of position to hold Eli off that wave too. Eli was a bit under. That wave seemed to come in on the shelf a bit more and snuck under him, and he got it by decimals as well. He just cannot catch a break, Oscar. But moving into El Sal, I think this part of the year is going to really open up for him. I think he's going to have some results incoming. So just a bad one there for Oscar, but he'll brush it off and move on to the next. The other person, Ethan Ewing.
Yeah, that would hurt. Maybe
Slightly disinterested, I thought, with how the waves were.
I don't know if you say disinterested.
I don't know. He looked
just
like
maybe unable to figure out the lineup.
Yeah, well, I just saw the approaches of Morgs and Ethan in that heat were. It seemed like Morgs was like the hungry guy that was going after everything and just putting 100% effort into every single turn and every single wave he got. And it seemed like Ethan was more or less like waiting for the really good wave to come that he knew he could perform on, and maybe one of those scenarios where he just didn't get down and dirty and get the job done in waves that don't suit him. Mind you, he has an incredible backhand on him, but he likes a bit more wave face to work with, which he wasn't getting here. Whereas Morgs sort of fits in that pocket a lot nicer than Ethan does, I found. And I just thought maybe like after such good waves at Snapper, you come here, you see the forecast coming and you're out there and it's slow. You got little bulldog Morgs underneath you just going nuts, and you're just sitting there going, well, is anything going to come to me? And didn't really happen for him.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Like it's not an event where he's sitting on that playing gun, this is mine to win.
Nah.
It's kind of just how can I maximise the most out of this, and potentially it's a throwaway. I'm not sure. Heading straight back to El Sal though, like I'm sure he's going to be ×2 in most people's fantasy picks straight away. So it might just be one of those events for him where he just goes, oh yeah, like fuck, shit happens.
Yeah, it is.
The next.
It'll be a throwaway for him, and he'll bounce back quickly. Erin Brooks. Another disappointment. I
don't know what's going on here, Finley.
She surfed a really poor heat against Gabby Bryan in an event that I think was hers to win. Really, Chris, it was unbelievable. I just think Erin has that little bit extra X factor that...
She's almost like the Italo of the women's side in, obviously not the aerial sense and whatnot, but the energy that she brings to the wave. The speed, the energy, the electricity, like it's all there. Mm-hmm. So I'm really starting to not quite understand why it's not all coming together for her.
Yeah. She had a costly fall in that heat, and then under her priority, let Gabby go the best wave of the heat, and Gabby got the score. Once everything clicks for her, she's just going to be a force to be reckoned with, but
it should have clicked by now.
I know. I just hope it happens sooner rather than later. She's unbelievable. Like she has to get there, and I think she will, but just needs to, I don't know.
The thing for me is like the first year, no one is expected to come out guns blazing.
No.
Morgs was the exception. Like very rarely does that happen.
Yeah.
So there's no kind of, trying to think of the word, expectation.
Yeah.
Sorry, full blank.
No, it's all good.
There's no expectation on these rookies to come out and capitalise. Mm-hmm. But now that she's not a rookie, you're starting to think, okay, like what did she do in the 7 months? Yep. What did she work on? 7 months off actually. And then to post parts in Nowadays, was it? Red Bull's film?
Yep.
That was
Now and Then, is it? No, maybe it's Nowadays.
Nowadays, I think.
Yep.
That really reinforced the fact that she is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 best surfers on the female side currently alive.
Yep.
But she's in the bottom 3. I don't know. Don't check me there. It would be close.
She's not going great this year, that's for sure.
On the CT, there's something not working.
Yeah. No, she just needs... I think she's still working with Snake. He's got to be getting in her ear just going like, you are so ready for this. It's just some decision making that she needs to tidy up because, yeah, she's going to just cruel herself if she continues to make these poor decisions.
I am worried about a psychological burnout.
Yeah,
you can only smash the junior series, the QS, like so hard and have everyone pat you on the back to then get a year and a half, 2 years of what's going on. Like that has to take a toll.
100%. Yeah. The other one, just put this down to having a shocker. Katie Simmers, she similar to Ethan. You just chuck this in the throwaway bag and she'll be ready to go for El Salvador. She will definitely be my fantasy team also. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple of heats of note here to check through. I just picked sort of 2 or 3 that I thought were worthy. Alejo Muniz versus GP. I just really wanted to take a moment to give...
Oh, Finley, we are eating our hats here.
I just wanted to give Alejo, just because it's probably the first time we've been able to do it this year, but just give him some flowers because he surfed really good. I think flowers. You even...
flowers.
Well, mate, you probably need to give him some flowers because I think you described this heat, and I quote, as a walkthrough for GP.
Yeah, but I'm fairly confident you jumped on that bandwagon and agreed pretty swiftly.
I believe I said not a walkthrough. I think were my words. I think it said not a walkthrough, but yeah, okay, GP should be winning. We can check the tapes.
Objectively,
yep.
He did fucking phenomenal.
Alejo?
Yeah. Like he did everything right. It just looked bad.
Sure.
I'm sorry, it looked bad.
Well, I had a different take on this, mate.
Style needs to be incorporated in the judging panel.
I thought that...
Get Rob Machado back.
I thought that the compressed style, which we comment on...
You just said it there. You just said it in a nice way.
No, just let me explain myself, mate. All right?
Go for it.
The compressed style that he has, which we often comment on his forehand, is not the most visually appealing style on this tour. I actually thought it looks quite good in his back end. I just think he gets a lot of spring out of his bottom turns, which translates well when he gets to the lip. And I was pretty impressed, and to the point where I put him in my daily wrap and went, "Here you go, Alejo. This is you surfed really well."
Okay, I'll leverage with that. It was worth the chockies.
100%. Give him his flowers.
I'm not gonna sit here and say I liked it.
Sure. The other
nothing against him, and like he put the heat together really well.
He surfed amazingly.
Like he picked the eyes out of that lineup.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Alejo, there's your flowers. I'm happy to give them to you. Zach may not be so easy, but I'll
give him on sale flowers. There's only like 2 days left.
Yeah, right.
$23 instead of $65.
Sure. Okay. The other thing I want to touch on this heat though, GP, although he lost the heat, looking every bit of a threat on this tour. And it sounds funny to say, given he's won an event, obviously he's a threat, but just to keep himself, like his ability to keep himself in heats when he's getting smoked is really, really impressive. Really out of rhythm this heat. Got down to like the last 10 minutes to go or so. He had not much at all. Alejo had some really good scores on the board, and he got the highest score of the heat and gave himself a fighting chance in the dying stages of this one. And it's not a wave that you go, oh, GP is going to be a standout, like it's a left, but he got himself up in the excellent range on his back end, which we haven't seen before. Just on the basis that we don't really see a lot of lefts, but obviously,
and I don't think the left is his favourite aspect of his surfing. Mikey Madonna said he doesn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, yeah, I think it was really good to see. He loses this heat. Him going into this heat probably is like, you never want to underestimate anyone on tour, but you're probably going, well, this is one of the better matchups I could get. Yeah. When he starts off really strong and you go, oh, I'm in a bit of curry here, to him to reset, get that 8.27, give himself a chance in the final stages, it's going to go a long way for him in his career. So good on you, GP. The other heat on the men's side, which we would be absolutely crook if we didn't touch on, the Yago versus Cole, quarterfinal number 3. Cole's best performance of the year, easily. One of his better performances ever on this tour. Surfing looked incredible.
came at a good time.
Yeah.
The name started to like drift off out of the frontal lobes of most surfers.
Yes.
Naturally, everyone does.
Yep.
But that one started to drift. And it was kind of like one of those moments like, oh, yeah, I forgot he fucking rips.
Yeah.
And then it's all kind of back.
It was fleeting though, wasn't it? Because he found himself sitting with 17 points with 3 minutes to go in that heat, and he left his opponent needing a 9.5. Unfortunately,
what do you fucking do, Finley? Do you cut his legs off and let him bleed and go, I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. What do you do when you're in, that scenario? You just fucking cop it, don't you?
Well, he literally did everything in his power and said, like, he surfed the perfect heat, got his 17 points, pocket 8.5s, 3 minutes to go. You cannot do much more than that as a competitive surfer than going,
that's boxed in.
Here's 3 minutes to go. You've got priority. Go for your life, mate. And to be fair, when Yago, obviously, surprise, Yago gets the score, gets the 10-point ride.
Across the board,
one of the quicker 10s we've ever seen. He was just like, that's just, like, you can't take that away from me. Like, I did everything I could, and he just got the score. They did 9-5.
There's no breakdown.
No. And he
just get on the fucking beers.
Yeah, he couldn't be mad at that. Like that. The freak of nature that Yago is.
I think there's a little bit of madness.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like
you can't go, like, obviously you'd like to progress through that heat, but you can't go home after putting 17 points up and losing and just go, well, I should have been better. Like, it was as good as I've seen him surf pretty well, and just the better surfer on the day one. And unfortunately, when you leave Yago Dora needing a 9.5 or whatever score he needed,
that was proper fucked.
Like, he's done it twice this year.
That was proper fucked. I just remember I didn't get to watch it live. I was at work and I was just scrolling and just went, there you go.
Yeah.
I was just proper like, what?
Well, because
what is that?
You had Cole in your fantasy team.
Yeah.
I had Yago in my power server. So that was a big swing heat for our fantasy rankings.
I did have Yago as well, though.
You did, but he's my power, and I didn't have Cole. So that you would have preferred Cole to win in that scenario. And I was just going, oh no. And then, 10 points. It doesn't get much better. I think it's important to acknowledge also that the wave Yago caught probably wasn't a 9.5 for anyone else on the tour, exception maybe Medina.
Yeah.
Just his ability to surf waves up gives him such an advantage. And the more I see him do this type of shit, he's just quite literally never out of a heat at any point. You need to have him comboed with 3 minutes to go. You're not like, you need a 10. You need to be like, all right, you just physically need 2 waves.
Yeah, any other person that you slip Yago out and put in, you'd be like, oh, Cole, go shake his hand.
Yeah.
Like, you'd be confident enough to be like, hey, like, there's no other waves coming.
Yep.
Like, you're going to need 2 waves. Shake hands now. And you'd be like, all right, yeah, I'm kind of running the gauntlet here, but I feel okay. Mm-hmm. Not the case.
No, you have to sit out until that siren rings and then
cut his legs off.
Yeah, cut his legs off. That
you have to get a seal attack.
Yeah, you need to get one of those seals that sort of apparently very rare at Raglan.
Yeah.
from Matty's report, but seal attack.
Maybe Cole should have just bit him.
Yeah,
that would do it.
Potentially.
Like, you'd be so put off by that.
Mm-hmm.
And is the punishment of that worth the heat win? Would you be disqualified?
I dare say you would be disqualified if you bit your competitor.
Straight up onto his toes.
I dare say you'd cover some kind of suspension as well. You probably wouldn't be sitting. You'd be sitting out of El Salvador.
You wouldn't get to continue your run?
No, I'd say not. No.
Okay, fair enough.
The other one,
I might test it.
Yeah, sure. The other heat I want to touch on as well after that one was just Carissa Moore's semi-final after Betty Lou at Snapper, I believe it was, said that one of the opening events that the older guard is no more, and it's the young girl's opportunity now. Carissa drops 3 9s on her head at Raglan and combos her. So
Mama angry.
Yeah. She had in this heat, so 6.5, 7.67, then went 9. This is before Betty Lou had even had anything significant. Betty Lou got a 7.93, which is like, all right, I'm sort of back. And then Chris just went, no, you're not. 9.2 and then 9.8. So incredible. Just touch on that one there because, I think Carissa, we've been a little bit critical of the older guard, and it's important to acknowledge, similar to Alejo, that when they do good stuff, and she's been incredible. So can't take anything off her there either.
No, that one was a well and truly a Chockies deserved.
Yes.
I'm not going to sit here and try and dismiss that one.
No. Okay, let's get in. Let's do a bit of a rankings check now. We haven't done one of these in a while. Let's go to ladies first. So, in your yellow leaders jersey, I think it's Lexus these days. Gabriella Bryan, she's sitting in first.
I'm surprised at that.
So am I, but she did win the first event, and she hasn't had worse than a 5th place, I believe. So,
Well, she's had three
fifths consecutively. Luana's had 2 seconds, although she's had a shocker 9th place result in there too. So, I mean, Gabriella, by law of averages there, she's up in front, 24,000 to 22,000 from Luana. Still really good from Luana to be where she is in 2nd place. 3rd place, Molly Picklum. She's been similar to Gabby, just hasn't had that win yet. So she got 2nd in the first event and then had all 5ths. She's been a little sneaky, like she's right in the mix still.
She's there, but just hasn't really poked her head
Nah.
above water.
She's in the shadows, but she'll be out of the shadows very soon. Lakey Peterson's still thereabouts in at 4th place.
I reckon that's just going to incrementally drop.
Okay, sure. Sawyer Lindblad moves herself up into 5th, which, like, if you look at her result, she's had a really bad score, 17th throwaway, so get rid of that one. Other than that, third, 2nd this year, which I didn't even realise she'd gone that well. So
That's a good run.
She's in a really good position heading into El Salvador.
Once there's more throwaways, that's going to become a solid statement for her.
Absolutely.
She's just got the throwaway, I feel like, it's only a matter of time until Gabby gets one, until Luana gets one. She's actually already got one.
Yeah.
Molly's going to have to cop one at some point. So I feel like that's a solid amount of points already.
Definitely. Carissa Moore in at 6. She's had the win. Plus, she's had pretty much all throwaways. She has had a 5th, but I don't know how many 5ths you want on the ladies tour, really. Like, even for those girls above her, like, they want to be getting rid of those pretty quickly. Katie Simmers down at 7th. Just, a bit of a shocker there from her. Betty Lou, 8th. Alyssa Spencer in at 9th. And Stephanie Gilmore with a first-round knockout, a 1st place, and then I believe a 2nd-round knockout, maybe. So
it's starting to look like a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, I think it's the data there's not looking amazing for her.
Like Carly Rae Jefferson, that one.
What song did she say?
Call me maybe.
There you go. We won't go below that. That's probably top 10's all we need. Men's rankings. Let's jump in there.
Can I just jump in on the women's?
Yeah.
It feels like Nadia's still low.
I
feel like she's done so well this year and not even close.
She's 13th, which I don't know. She's 1 spot ahead of Tyler Wright, which I feel like she's surfed a lot better than that.
That's what I mean. Like, I look at that list and think it's broken.
Yeah, no, she just had that 1 3rd place at Snap. Apart from that, she hasn't been amazing. A bit of recency bias there from us. 1st place, Italo Ferreira on the men's side with 2 9ths, a 3rd, and a win. Miggy Pupo still thereabouts, and he's not far off the lead. If he does well, if he beats Italo by like 1 heat or so and progresses through a few heats, he's probably going to find himself back in that yellow jersey, which would be cool to see. Medina in at 3rd, Yago Dora 4th, George Pittard 5th, Ethan Ewing 6th. Does have the win though, as does George, so they're pretty much neck and neck. George has just had a few sort of middling results that have got him above Ethan there. 7th, Sammy Pupo. 8th, Griffin. 9th, Leo. 10th, Philippe Toledo. Just sitting in there, and he'd be looking at this next event going, all right, how far up these rankings am I going to go? And I think he's going to go pretty far up. If that gives you any hint into what my fantasy team's going to look like with him in it.
It's been a pretty mixed bag of the year, though.
Well, he's had...
Like, we've seen the yellow jersey jump every event. Yep. Pretty rare.
Top 4 note, all Brazilian. We have...
Not rare.
Yeah, not rare. 4, 5, so 6 Brazilians in the top 10. They are absolutely murdering it this year.
They fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
I love Australia. I love it all. And, fucking True Blue, don't get me wrong. But fuck me, they deserve it. They're just so good.
Yeah, they're incredible.
And you cannot deny them the right to want a sea of green.
No. Yeah, and even Italo in that last event. He's going to have his detractors, and we have been slightly detractors, I guess. But you got to give him his flowers, and he's surfing. He's doing really hard stuff, and the judges have to reward it. So he's found himself in at 1st place. Could really do quite well at this next stop, given his backhand prowess. But yeah, I think we're going to see probably a continued sea of green into El Salvador, to be honest.
Oh, but they're up against the fucking polar bear, whatever his name is.
Oh, Brian Perez,
Yeah.
the Pink Panther.
Pink Panther, polar bear. Fuck. He is the same build as a polar bear.
He's big and he bloody surfs that wave unbelievably.
Maybe we go visit him. We're going to his neighbouring country.
El Salvador.
Yeah, not far.
Is it close?
Yeah, very close.
Go and pay Brian a visit.
Go use our Bitcoin that we've got.
Yeah, I saw a Bitcoin ATM in Ballina the other day, which is surprising.
It's
Anyway.
probably been stolen by now.
Okay, let's get into the fantasy teams.
All right, rip the lid off.
What does your number start with? The first number of your team.
So, if you don't know what we're talking about, we obviously do the loser at each event has to do some sort of a challenge. I'm sure half the internet saw my white cheeks getting blasted out there.
Yeah.
Mindful, before we get into this one, you're up, buddy. You're up, Buttercup. So, Finley's challenge was we put it out there to the internet to you guys to see what he should do, and there was a lot of comments about put him in the dick stickers. Now, I want to see you in the dick stickers, but I feel like we just have to do something a little different. Maybe we can come back to the dick stickers.
Sure.
So, your punishment is Lennox Point, green soft top 7.6 that I've had for quite some time. It looks a bit rough. Swimming cap, scuba diving goggles, full
Scuba
suit.
diving.
Well, the bigger ones, not the
Snorkel.
No, like the goggles that you would attach a snorkel to.
Snorkel goggles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Plus full suit.
I'll probably drown if I wear those out there. Just-
No, you got your mouth.
I know, but it's just so bulky. I'll probably knock myself out.
Don't go
Imagine
underwater.
you fall off a wave with that velocity and you hit some snorkel goggles into your head.
Imagine when you fall off and you get to go for a quick scuba. Get to see what's underneath the point, pick up a watch,
True.
a fucking GoPro or
I'll
some
probably
shit.
find my GoPro I lost there.
There you go. You
That'd
can
be-
thank me later. So yes, you're going surfing. It's your time to be embarrassed.
Right. Now, without further ado, hopefully we return to regular scheduled programming where Zach does the challenges. What does your number start with for
Hang
event
on, I'm
points?
playing now. It'd be great if WSL would address this app. It seems to be a bit,
Shit.
what do they call it? Buggy.
Shit.
Shit, buggy. Shit, buggy. All right, view team. I'm quite happy with my global rank, by the way. Okay. Event points. 600. Fuck
you. Got him. Fuck. 715, baby. Where'd you come in the world?
12,000th.
You and you're happy with that.
Well, I was like 50th.
I got 1,000.
50,000. You got 1,000th in the world.
1,100th, yeah. In the
Well,
world.
Snapper, I got 49th in the world,
Yeah.
so you can eat a dick.
Yeah, because I got absolutely hoodwinked. That's the one time you beat me was when I got hoodwinked and I took Ethan out of my team.
Let's go overall. Let's see who's winning.
I dare say it'd be me.
I don't know, because I got the 49th. I feel like
What's your global ranking?
our global ranking is 14,000th.
I'm 1,400th. 1419 in the world.
Oh. There's a decimal point between us.
Is there like a challenge? Is there like a real bad one for whoever comes dead last out of Me and You, like at the end of the year? Or are we just going to do...
We can ask our friendly audience.
Okay. If we get a bit closer and...
Okay, so I guess the...
comment what Zach's got to do.
Comment what you want me to do.
He's getting really good at these challenges.
Can I just say that the Budgie Smugglers one, it was all well and good. I got dressed at the top of the the top of the point there.
Mm-hmm.
On a Sunday. There would have been 120 people outside. The car park was packed. As soon as I dropped my dacks and put them on, I had people hooting and harring and catcalling me. And I was fine with that. I was fine with Gleno taking a photo of me.
Yeah.
I was fine with everyone just like pointing and laughing. That was fine. Do you know what I wasn't fine with?
What?
My nieces were out there surfing. And I was like, fuck, that's just the two people I didn't want to see. And I had to do the old like paddle pass and show, oh, Hey guys. I was just like, oh fuck, Chrissy Lunch just got a bit more awkward. Hopefully they forget.
You're just the
white cheeks.
You're the weird uncle that everyone has.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah, I was happy to deal with whatever was going to come my way from the boys and your typical locals, but that one I was like, that's unfortunate for them and unfair for them. So apologise to Charlie and Izzy if they did see that.
Yep. Now, just love the questions, by the way. We've got 40, which is
almost midnight.
Incredible. It's just for everyone's. I mean, we may have to cut a few of these short just so you guys have a podcast tomorrow. We'll go through and just try and pick some ones that we haven't talked about yet.
We'll go one for one.
Yeah. So Matthew. I was going to say Matt the Watcher, but it's Matthew Archer.
Okay.
You boys put any of those heats in your top 5 of the year? Hard to say as of yet, but I think that Cole Hausher and Yago Dory one could be situated well and truly inside that.
That Yago 10 was proper fucked.
Outlandish.
Like, that was the best air of the event, comboed with the best turn of the event.
Back to back, yeah.
Within 0.5 of a second of each other.
Yep.
So, yep.
Lot of as well, a lot of Italo references in here with flicky error versus and when do we get tired of those sorts of maneuvers, which we kind of feel like we've addressed quite well. One of the questions being how many error verses is too many error verses. Apparently 29 is the answer to that question because that's how many Italo did. You got a question for us, Zach?
I do. This one's by Owen, but it was Owen Kilby, that is, Junior Source. This one was by Owen, but a lot of people have been hinting the same question. Was Carissa pushed through in regards to the storytelling behind it?
No, maybe there's
they are leaning into the fucking mum thing a lot.
That definitely the mum,
and they're going to use all that content for the maternity leave wildcard announcement that they've got coming in 9 months' time.
Sure, yeah. Look, they're pushing the mum narrative quite hard, which it's pretty sick. But I don't think she necessarily got pushed. Maybe like a little bit of GST on some of her scores, but at the end of the day, she was the standout of the event. She won that final fair and square, and maybe a few of those heat totals could have been a bit lower, but that's been hypercritical, and I don't want to take too much away from her. She was incredible.
Yep. I didn't actually get to watch too much of the back end of the event, so I don't have anything to comment there. But what I will say is WSL and there's no secret that a cheeky storyline does get hindered around a few heats, I must say, in previous scenarios.
Sure. Joey Paddo, Rags has been one of the most disappointing events so far. Kind of touched on this with Matty later. Copped a little bit of criticism for the C ranking of Raglan on my grade report that I posted on our Instagram.
Might I add, I was a little hurt that you didn't consult me.
Did you need consulting?
I would have gone the same, but just text.
Okay, I'll ask you for your grade report next time.
I would have gone exactly the same. It was a C because it took so long to get.
If every day was like the last day, it's a B easily.
It would never be an A.
Snapper was an A. Spectacle was amazing. Waves really good. Surfing incredible. Back to back days running. Finished the event within 3 days. Love that. A. That's why you get an A. Starting the event,
a lot of skin shown too.
Sure. Starting the event in like 1 to 2 foot waves, then calling it off, then running one heat on a day, then calling it off, then seal attack, then which we can't do anything about.
Did they go on hold because of glare?
I don't know, but they're just like I'm
fairly sure they went on hold because of glare for some of it.
It was getting an F. I was giving it an F until the last 2 days. Sorry. I gave it a C. That was a vast increase from my initial impression of it. And the reason being, like, I gave Margs a C because we expect mediocrity when we go to Margs. Raglan has such a high ceiling, and the waves that we saw weren't even as good as it can get. When that joint is pumping and we get those guys out there, that's when I'm like, well, that's an A. But for what we got, like, that wave has so many more faces to show, and we didn't see much of it. So I think it's quite fair.
I think it's fair.
Yeah. You got one for me?
Yes, I do. I did. Sea lion or shark?
I think it was a seal. I don't even think it was a sea lion.
That's a seal.
Different. Two different animals.
Different.
Different animals.
Does it make sense that it could have been a little sharky shark?
Well,
If Scorringe reckons it's a complete... He's never fucking seen one.
well, it stole his flipper apparently. So I don't know. I mean, a shark could steal your flipper, but the thing that pissed me off was that they called it a wildlife injury the entire time. Call it what it is.
I know. That was... I had that conversation with Cooper when we went surfing today, and he's like, how weird was it that they called it a wildlife injury? I'm like, yeah, why not just... That's made it sound worse than what it was.
Call a spade. Like,
exactly.
They would know. What the guy who got bitten by it would know what it was, and he would have gone, I just got attacked by a seal. Say it was a seal.
Yeah.
We don't need to go wildlife injury. It's like, yeah, what are we protecting? Are we protecting like seal, like PR of seals worldwide? You know, like they haven't necessarily done too much bad stuff for themselves. I don't think one attack's going to be causing too much of an issue for them. But yeah, like don't love that. Like it's just political and like business jargon, right? They're just trying to remain neutral.
Insurance mode.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, do you see this event coming back in the future? Yeah. I think they've signed on for a couple of years, haven't they?
I don't think so.
Oh, is it just a 1 year thing?
I reckon that's one and done, boys and girls.
Interesting.
I kind of for and against it. It was good, but it just doesn't feel HP enough.
Put it this way, that last 2 days gave it some hope of coming back. Until the last 2 days, it was no hope. Mm-hmm. It's now some hope.
Look, waves aside, that doesn't fucking matter, clearly. J-Bay just got flicked for it.
Yeah.
What's going to matter is right now they're probably doing a pitch deck or a SWOT analysis, and they're running the P&L, and if it comes out green, then they're probably going to ask Tourism New Zealand to go again. If it comes out a loss and they come out with a webcast that underperformed and assets that didn't get as many eyeballs as it usually does, then it just simply won't happen. That's all that matters. Let's not fucking dance around the bush.
Yeah. Hot leather.
Fuck yeah, my favourite.
Long time listener.
I love it. What was it? What was his...
I asked about Connor's pendulous testicles and
pendulum. Just kind of, yeah, that's fucking
just
phenomenal.
Swing weight nuts.
Yeah.
Having a WSL event in town that runs the whole waiting period is terrible for your liver. I'm sure it is. Jonathan and Katie, any new spots the tour should go to? Oh, there's plenty. Well, will they go there?
Starkey needs to get on a flight right now to Indonesia and sort out whatever shit is happened there.
Yep.
And there needs to be one in Indonesia.
Has to be.
It's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Whatever the fucking dollar sign is, just do it.
Just pay it.
Run that one at a loss. Run 3 others at a profit. Comes out as an average.
Do like an event, which is, if you've got to, do like one pay-per-view event per year in Indo.
Done.
I'll pay $20 to see that.
I think every surfer would pay $10 Australian.
If you go to Greenbush and chuck an event there, or not Greenbush, Macaronis, put an event at Macca's, I'll pay $50. Like, I'll genuinely, if I get to see the world's best surf that joint and it's pumping, sign me up.
Macaroni Surf Resort, right there.
Yeah.
Just book that thing out.
Mm-hmm.
You can stay at like HTs if you really want to just get the fast boat around. Like, fuck.
No, that's
Let's
a pay-per-view. They need to look into that. That needs to happen. Lot of Italo monotonous half rotation shit looking at revs from Andrew Sageman.
Yes, there's a lot of
these types of questions. The WSL should be like the big wave comps when they have a few days to get. That question's been left out, but I don't know. Maybe he's referring to like you have a set window, and in that window you can pull the plug at any point if it's cooking. Could be looked into, but that comes down to expenses as well. That was from Jack Zan.
A lot of people questioning, will it come or go?
Yeah.
I think it will go.
Empire Ave. Morgs has a top 5 backhand. When he gets the forehand to that level, look out. Couldn't agree more. He's a full package if he can.
Not a question, but a great statement.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on Italo's continuous air revs by Brad Stewart.
I reckon 30 of these 40 questions are nearly Italo.
Yeah.
Italo related.
Well, it's good to know that what we think is what everyone else is thinking. We're not too far off the mark there. So, yeah.
Question from Sauce Bottle here. Interesting one. Why'd no one hit the lineup after the seal incident, like snapper? And that's a good question. Like, would you, if you knew there was a crazy seal out there, would you hit the lineup?
Oh, undoubtedly. I'll cop a seal.
I heard some rhetoric coming out of like Cape Town or something, like because I was Googling this story online trying to get some information about it. and it was like rabid seals like litter Cape Town. I'm like, well, imagine there's one of these like rabies seals getting amongst it, getting stuck in it, New Zealand. Get yourself rabies jab before you go over there next time. Rod Morg, Sawyer won the women's final. Both surfed exceptionally, but Sawyer won. Okay, like I don't agree, but I can see like Sawyer was exceptional this event. I just think they kind of set the precedent with Carissa's surfing throughout the event, and the surfing she did in the final didn't really change from the rest of the event. They were scoring highly, so they kind of just had to. But I do like the backhand versus forehand approach was obviously a point of difference there. Sawyer was absolutely ripping, but I do think Carissa probably did win the final.
Tiny Dog 100 was Morg's ripped off. Valid question, but no.
No, I think, again, Italo won. And we do get into that with our chat.
I think Morg's the backup. It just wasn't strong enough.
If he puts up another like mid-8, or say, I don't even know what he needed, but he probably would have needed like a mid-8. Say he got an 8 on his next wave and then lost. It's like, there's no argument know that he was robbed, but he just didn't have that really high score that you could then compare to Ilo's and go, okay, well, maybe we got the wrong result here.
It just, that second wave didn't give him the opportunity to square up probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
He got the one.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the turns were kind of rounded off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. I do know we had a DM as well.
We did have a DM.
From Tom, who also agrees with Rod and just saying that he felt like the gap between Carissa's and Sawyer's wave was too great, and they pushing the Carissa storyline, the fairy tale finish. I don't know. I do think Carissa won, so I can't comment too heavily there. Although I do think they are absolutely reaming the shit out of that mum/child tag that it's getting a lot of runs. That baby got chaired up the beach. Hasn't done anything. It's had a full CT chair up. No accomplishments yet. So hopefully we can live up to the expectations of one's mother.
Jeremy Pether also said if Yago was a regular footer, he would have another world title. Probably.
Well, I don't know. He's looking pretty good as a goofy footer.
I know, but like this is the first left that allows him to do it.
You mean like if it's surfing?
Copy and paste.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, I get you. And yes, I imagine probably would have ticked this box a little bit ago. Although with the final 5, maybe not. We've had that sort of shit show the last few years.
Well, we can finally put to bed whether a goofy footer versus a natural footer at Raglan is which one's better, and it's a 50-50 split on both the men's and women's. Yeah. So we never know, and we probably won't run there ever again. So we still never know.
Yeah, no.
Oh, well.
And it was the hot question on everyone's lips, and we're no closer to finding out. So apologies for that, but it is what it is. Hopefully we get another rep there. I think we should get another rep there.
Okay, and just before we sign off, let's quickly go through. We put it on our Instagram, but the leaderboard for Fantasy.
Yes, winner of which gets a $300 Motorino voucher. Second place gets a Mizu and Lais towel, sort of prize pack.
Yep.
And if you win the season, you get a trip to Macaroni's Island Resort. 9
nights, accommodation provided. T's and C's apply. You have to get your own flights and a few little taxes that the Indo government drips in there as well.
Yep.
But big thanks to Macaroni Surf Resort.
Yep. And also you get a World Champion signed CT jersey.
Big thank you to WSL for getting us a signed jersey as well.
Yeah. Now, if you don't we have had a 0% success rate of winners actually reaching out. So the Motorino vouchers, if you just have to come in that sort of top echelon of fantasy, rankings, and you are in the mix for a $300 Motorino voucher, which, as I say every time, I want that voucher. I hope and when I do win a round, which will happen at some point, I will be keeping said voucher. It's not going to second place. I'm having that thing.
Fuck yeah, you got a new tee on now.
Yeah, I do. And
share the love.
Yeah, no, I will have another one because the gear's that good. So, give it to me. Who have we got?
All right, first place was Dunk.
Dunk reach out. Dunk reach out.
We got 811 points. So yeah, Dunk reach out. You will get a $300 Motorino voucher. If they don't reach out, it means that they're probably not following us or something on Instagram. So we're actually going to find an alternative person.
It'll either be second place, or if second place doesn't reach out, we'll go in a follow a draw or something.
Yep.
Yep.
So someone's going to be walking away with some nice threads.
Someone's getting $300. Not
Second place, AH14. Sounds like a bot name, but I'm
do we
pretty
make
sure
a
they're real.
rule next year you have to use your full name?
No, because I like number 3, third place, Lizard Surfs.
Sure. Okay.
Those things can kind of stay. And there's a few Finley's 4s kicking around as well.
Yeah.
So fourth place was Taj Felt's team.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth place was Brain. And sixth place was JR11603. That's a bot for sure.
Well, maybe it's just like his initials and then like, oh, your username has been taken. Here's 4 numbers that you need to use to actually get it.
Very true. So yes, Dunk, whoever you are, Dunk, DUNK. Reach out.
So I think, is that us? I think we're done.
Oh, I thought you meant, well, we Dunk.
No.
We get a $300 Mandarina voucher. Done.
I'd love to, but no, are we done? I feel like, do we normally do something at the end?
No, we are all done. We're going to leave you in the beautiful hands of Matt Scorringe. And he's going to go through.
It. That's what I was running for. Matty Scorringe.
He's going to give us the local on-the-ground scoop of this event.
Yeah, some of which you've heard that we do. We left a little bit of details out of the main pod because we cover it a bit in that. So yeah, enjoy the soothing voice of Matty Scorringe. We'll leave you there. See you next week.
Adios.
Yeah, hugely, hey? Like,
yeah, mate, it was, eh? It was, I mean, there's been a few of them that have dragged out now, but that one really felt long. I don't know, maybe just because I was there.
Yeah.
Definitely, and it just been part of the lead up and the preparation. It was like 3.5 weeks in Raglan for, for the event, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, at least it rescued itself in the end, right? Like it wasn't all in vain. We got some waves at the end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least, it was good to show, I think, just what it kind of can do, right? At the end of the day, it still wasn't as good as it gets. And, I mean, the most, I guess the best 3 hours of the whole event was when it was on hold because of the seal incident. So everyone's just sitting there watching barrels. But, even still, some actual waves peeling down, some long left-handers. And I think everyone finally maybe appreciated seeing a left-hand point break on tour, which, even if you're a natural footer, it just looks good to see people surfing the other way for once, I think.
Can we talk about the seal attack? Is that normal? Is that kind of an occurrence?
Never heard of it before in my life. Never. Nah. I mean, at first, when they were sort of calling it shark, I mean, we're sitting around with DK and Cara Ricard and just like, a bunch of other locals that are all just, the fabric of the community there. And there's not been a shark attack on the points that anyone can ever remember, over the years. And then, let alone a seal sort of attacking anyone. So it was bizarre. But I guess when you sort of boil it down, right, it's one of those incidences that's like, you can see how it might have happened and just the uncanniness of a cameraman being in there and flipping around. And I mean, still, the odds have got to be that ridiculous, right, for it to actually go down.
We obviously did our very short-lived live stream on the WSL's YouTube, but we were like, what animals can attack you here? And we kind of like almost taking the piss. We're like, right, so there's sharks, there's seals, and then like, I think we even said, do you guys get orcas there? We assumed you might have. But we're like 3 animals, but we didn't actually think that probably the least likely of all those animals to see an attack from was a seal. So very strange.
I mean, it's so strange. I don't even see them out there ever. I've never, occasionally on the rocks you see them just from time to time, but they're not commonly in the water in the lineup. When you go down to the South Island, they're everywhere, and you learn to surf with them, and they're proper sea lions, and they scare the shit out of you. Fuck, you want to get out of the water, but these are just cruisy seals. They just pop up and nod their head around, if anything. So I don't know. It must have tripped out on the cameraman and just thought it was maybe just as it kicked or something, it was getting attacked and just retaliated. But I don't know. It actually looked pretty gnarly on the footage, when you watch it back.
So I'm like, get off the back of the ski, and he hobbled, and I'm like, oh god, he's done something back. It was heavy.
Yeah,
like flashes of day back. Almost.
Yeah. I mean, and it was just starting to heat up, with with the heat and the conditions, and it was just, I don't know. It was one of those crazy moments when you're there and you just no one knew what was going on for ages and everything like that. So I mean, obviously just glad he's okay and it wasn't anything major, but the timing and again, just like the chances are just out of this world that it went down. And it was probably the best 3 hours the waves were the entire waiting period, without exaggeration, just standing there watching actual barrels and 4 and 5 foot, just the low tide peak, swell peaking, wind dropping off, like everything you could have wished for to kind of see the final out. Actually, they would have been pulling in and getting some barrels. They're not crazy tubes, but there's enough kind of chunkiness and a little bit of, like it's that they kind of just go a little square enough that it would have been exciting. And then coming out with, the combination of turns and airs, and it just would have added a whole nother element that I think everyone would have appreciated. Again, how JB might barrel. They're not scary thick tubes, but they add a nice touch.
Absolutely. And your athletes as well. So we'll get into that. You had Ethan and Gabby Bryan, correct? They were your 2 athletes in this event.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So they obviously, Gabby had an okay showing. Ethan, bit of a shocker by his lofty standards that he's set himself. But I feel for the most part for Ethan, and we'll talk about this in our podcast that we do today. I almost feel like there was just more so the waves that let him down more than anything. He came up against Morgan, who is a little bit shorter in stature when he surfs and fits in those smaller pockets a lot nicer than Ethan does. And Ethan obviously does his best surfing when he's got a bit more face to work with. Is it more or less, did he sort of understand that coming in, wasn't too spewing, or was he off it?
Yeah, I think like you've hit the nail on the head. Like, at the end of the day, the conditions that kind of were, available for those first few days, and particularly some of those lower tide heats, it was just so slow. There was a real disconnect. Like there was these moments between the tides where it was breaking and peaking, let's say what we call off the corner, but it was basically like a flat bit across the rocks, and it would connect to the sandbar. So it just wasn't a canvas you could take off and, sort of get on your rail and sort of build that momentum at speed. It was really like you had to put your turns in the right place. They had to be the right turns, real transitional turns to start. You could open up a bit more down the sandbar, and it just leaned into tight, precise surfing right at the end of the day. And the Philippes, the Rios, the Morgs, and so on, just Alejo, it just gave those sorts of backhands, those stylistic backhands, the opportunity to shine and create a point of difference. Obviously when we sort of did the preview, the surf was a little bigger, and it was nice to see some of the, I guess the like unique approaches someone like Ethan were taking to the canvas when there was wall and those kind of more carving sections that you do need to link up. And you probably saw a little bit of that on the finals day. And the way that, even Cole used it, the day before, and also Yago on their forehands, like there was actually finally a little bit of carves like you could do that were meaningful with some power and some, well-timed like transitional, like linking to the next major. And I think some of the backhand surfers could have maybe presented something different there that had that style. But when it was small, it just eliminated that whole approach. Look, it was slow. Morgs got the first exchange, and it was pretty much a chase from there, and that was kind of how the cookie crumbled. We can dive into it a little bit more later, but it was such a game of like if you picked the wrong wave in a set, it was pretty much that was your heat. Like there just wasn't much opportunity to chase back a heat if you didn't execute with priority. And that happened to a few surfers, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. They got to ask you as well, you being down there on the sand, on the rocks, I imagine, for the Cole and Yago heat, is that as good as a heat as you've ever seen in real life, or maybe the best?
It's definitely the best wave I've ever seen in real life in a heat. Like, I literally were up on the sort of top level of the scaffolding and, sort of the top tier of the athlete zone. And I just saw the wave coming, and it was such a high pressure moment. I actually grabbed my camera out and just went, let's film this thing, and sort of panned over and captured it. And it all fell into place like this, obviously perfect 10. But look, honestly, as you know, I think we'll get into a little bit of it soon. Like there's different styles of airs, right, that we've been done on that point. And something like that, just the loftiness to the flats, but the transition into the next turn, like that's where, I think the judges just had to go 10 straight away. And it was so good they did. I was talking with Richie Lovett and Ronnie. They were in the booth at the time, or around the booth at very least. And they were just like everyone was saying this has to finally be a 10, right? They've gone close this year, but they hadn't. Obviously, it got thrown out pretty quickly, and it was unanimous. But yeah, just the way he threw that down, and the pressure of the moment, and the transition into quality turns after, it was, you just couldn't argue with it, right? So it was pretty insane. And yeah, to Cole's, like, to credit, man, he put on a show. Like, I did allude a little bit at the start. I was interested to see how some of the bigger goofies might go. That day did have just enough size to give him a little canvas, but man, his calves and his variety, like, that was impressive. Some of the best forehand surfing, maneuver surfing, without a doubt, I've seen on the point. So yeah, he was insane.
And you picked the Italo call straight away. No surprises there. But was there anyone else where you're like, holy shit, like, they're surprising me, like they're performing better or understanding the wave better than I thought as the event went through?
To be honest, Carissa, like, you know, kind of opening up both sides of the draw. She's always got a beautiful backhand and looks good. But I will say, through the warm-ups, like, she wasn't standing out. Like, Betty Lou had some majors, and you know, some of the other girls, like, you know, Alyssa and Sawyer, yeah, they were looking sharp on their forehands, and definitely Gabby was really looking good, you know. And so Carissa was always in the mix, but what impressed me through the event, like, she learned that wave faster than anyone. That was what stood out. Like, I watched her adjust her lines per wave based on the iterations that the wave can do, like those potholes, those moods that you get at Manu Bay with different tides. I mean, she did have the last heat 3 days in a row when it was absolutely just what we call, you know, the golden hour. But I watched her change her approach, you know, wave to wave based on what the wave served up. And that, to me, was really quite a standout, just the way she adapted. And then she just obviously started to build confidence and just continued to unlock heat by heat. So yeah, I mean, she was incredible, right? It was insane surfing. But yeah, just her adaptability, I think, is what stood out. And if I was to continue with that, yeah, Yago and Medina, I know they're sort of typical picks, but watching those two, as well as Idlo, as we've mentioned, and all their warm up, all their just free surfing, the amount of surfing they were putting on the point, the way they were just adjusting and so unfazed by what conditions I'd go out in. Like, they just were kind of like robots to the process, right? And the discipline around that. And they just weren't afraid of any condition. They'd just go out there and put their best foot forward, obviously, which is pretty insane. And like, that Medina heat with Philippe obviously was a bit of a lackluster heat, which was a bummer because it really pumped later that day. Like, obviously turned on, and it was just probably like an hour too soon they started, to be fair, and they could have used a bit more light at the end of the day, and we could have seen a different story.
And what did you think of the calls? Do you reckon the calls were on point throughout the last, I don't know, felt like 2 weeks, but was there moments where people were like, fuck, really? Like, are we doing this? Or like, was it pretty well organized?
I mean, like, the event was well organized. I you know, we're impressed with everything that Raglan presented as a challenge logistically and environmentally, and, you know, the kind of cultural aspect to it. Like, I really do want to compliment the WSL for, like, how they showed up in New Zealand. Like, we're a small country and we have a unique culture. They embraced the culture. They respected the environment. They respected the people. The people were, you know, so happy to have everyone. And I think everyone had a really good time, honestly, just enjoying New Zealand for what it was. And so I understand from the couch, you know, watching the product that's what matters. And yeah, there was some moments that, of course, like the Colapinto heat, like, shouldn't have run. Like, you know, it's easy to say in hindsight what they should have done, but there was some moments there where I think they were chasing it, and they didn't need to, in my opinion. Like, I was pretty clear with my communication to those I had access to that I was so confident Sunday, Monday was going to provide from really early on, you know. And so I do understand it was a way out, and they kind of can't rely on just the opinion of someone, but the numbers I was seeing, I just knew there was going to be swell, and I feel like there was a few others that thought the same. The winds didn't look good, but it didn't matter. Like, the winds were shit anyway the whole way through the event. Like, it was always going to be, you know, a bit of wind. And in the end, Monday ended up being the least wind we had the whole time. So that did work out. But yeah, there was a couple of, I think, calls just to kind of push the early rounds out, and they've got a job to do. But I really think they should have rerun the Colapinto heat. I thought that was brutal on their behalf. Yeah,
it was a bit of a shame that one. And
yeah,
luckily, like I said, I put a post up on our Instagram, and it was like basically a recap of the opening third of the tour, and I did like a report card for each of the events, and I was hit with a bit of backlash about giving Raglan a grading of a C, and it was like I can understand where people were coming from, but seeing what we got there on finals day and even the day before finals day, the ceiling of that event is so high, and you can just see like if we got a full forecast where the waves were that big, or if not even bigger, because I'm assuming like it handles a lot bigger than that too. The event could be off its head. So I was copping all this stuff in the comments, but I'm like,
so what, they wanted a D? Is that what you mean?
No, they wanted B's and A's. They were going.
Oh, okay, right, okay. Well, that's good news.
Yeah, they thought I was being harsh, and it wasn't just one or two. There was a few. So
yeah,
I could
good.
That's good. Yeah, for sure. And you can see like that last day of surfing, the waves they were getting. You could see that wasn't A+ Raglan, but the surfing they were able to do was incredible. So really good signs moving forward for that event.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, I've been to a few CT events before, but this is the first event I didn't watch a single day of broadcast. I've just been at it the entire time. Like, been to the Goldie, I've been to a bunch, right? And you go, but there's still time you spend at home on the couch, and so you flick a few heats on here or there. So I'm actually keen to watch it back. Like, but I don't have the, I guess, opinion of anyone that was, seeing it through the TV. So I have I guess, like that kind of opinion based on what we see when we're there. But ultimately, I honestly feel like the surfers even really started to grow like their like for the wave. It started out bad. They finally got some lined up swell, kind of got small. It was tricky, but they could see the potential. The goofies were still frothing. There was still like certain natural footers that had those tight backends that were like, shit, I've got a pet event here. Like, this is something I can actually lean into. And so I really think it was like 50-50, and then it got good. And then everyone it got good enough to show a little bit of what it can do. And you're right, like it was pretty good that late afternoon on Sunday for Manu Bay at like a playful size. And that was the kind of Carissa heat and so on. And then the next day was finally a bit of swell. Unfortunately, as I said, the best of it was on hold, but at least it showed like, okay, this point can have 8 or 9 turns. It can have airs, it can have barrels. And yeah, if it all lines up, we could put on a pretty good show, I think, in terms of a wave that people would enjoy watching. And the main thing that I think people like about it is it's exposing other people's weaknesses for once, that we haven't been able to see for a while. So it's exciting, and I think there's a bit of takeaway. I really think they need to fine tune how they judge airs on a surf on a point break for forehand, for goofy footers. Something that, if you think to maybe like Philippe at like El Salvador, a couple of those performances in J Bay, like the way he was doing those huge airs in transition with multiple turns is what they need to bring to the left. They can't just give every air reverse that you do 8s, like Italo was amazing, but that wave of Morgs was a point higher than Italo's first 8, without doubt, live. Like just the energy, the impact, the power, the moment, everything. And they got that wrong, and that should have been a point advantage to Morgs. And then, whatever happened next, I guess you can live with the other 9 with Italo, and so you can say he still won, but they just got to get that balance of, and not getting carried away with 3 airs. The last part of the point too, that he would do his 3rd air on, like in normal New Zealand comps, no one surfs down there. You kick out before that rebate. Like our judges would go, that's the kid's corner, get back out, but obviously we're probably doing a couple of cutbacks and he's still doing his. So like there's a different level to what has been done down there. But I think what's done down there shouldn't have as much weight as to what it did have, in my personal opinion.
That's spot on what I was thinking. I was like, there's no way they're judging past, those 3 kind of big moments that you get out the back. And whatever's done on the inside is kind of just like the frosting on top of the cake, right? But it felt like they were genuinely going, they're air reverses. And I was going, what the fuck? Go down to your local board riders club and there's a 12-year-old Grommy doing those ones. Not to take away from him. Obviously, the first one, incredible. But, like, I was going, what? Like, I don't – is that even part of the judged part of the wave? Like, it's so small and so, like, rock runnery, but it seemed like
I mean, it was impressive that he could do it down there and the crowd loved it, right? But, like, I thought the judges were judging well for a lot of the heats, but it's – and Nidalo did some crazy stuff, right? That deserved everything he, got rewarded for score-wise through the event, and Medina and Yago and those sorts of characters really put on a show with the air on their forehand. And it was unbelievable how they were getting those airs in the wind, honestly. Like, that shot, you probably can't tell through the TV, but it's brutal on your forehand. And, the way they were using it as a ramp and transitioning was super impressive. But, yeah, that after that impact first three quarters, that last quarter, and they kind of rebate and wait, it's kind of hard to put too much score on that, I think. And it's kind of like maybe getting a reform on a beach and just doing a quick extra little thing down onto the sand, right? It's really shouldn't factor in too much. So, yeah, that was a bit of a shame. But I still think Italo got the best two waves, but in combination. But, hopefully they can kind of take the feedback and apply that to the next left-hand point break, whether it's Raglan or somewhere else.
It's a funny point you make there as well, because just casting my mind back to events that they've had at El Salvador and at J-Bay, some of the airs they've been doing are so impactful, and they seem to have got the scoring right there more so than they did here. It seemed like you're right. It was just like an air reverse was deemed a really hard maneuver, which it is. But for these guys, it's like as easy as doing a snap for them sometimes, And I just cast my mind to some of the alley-oops and like full rotations that we've seen from Griffin and Philippe at those venues. And they're not even close to what we were seeing here. I mean, Yago scales to those, but everything else really was pretty stock.
Yep, I agree. I mean, a couple of the like double ones that Italo would do was cool, and there's a few boned out ones off the top that you can go cool. Like that's a committed first air, regardless. Like it's not, it's not Yago's, but hey, it's still something. It's still pretty crazy he did it on that section. But what's next? And yeah, if it's flat and it's downtime in between, and then another one, I think they did a pretty good job at some of the final fives at Trestles with him, right? Where they just put a line in the sand and didn't reward him when he did like 4 of those on a wave. And they said, you're not winning a world title doing this, right? And they let the better surfing on the rights go down or, looked for a different style on the lefts. And I think as soon as they do that and they start making those sevens, they're going to force that hand and you're going to start to get the reward for more what Cole was doing, more what Yago was doing on the forehand. And then, of course, the backhand attack if it's done correctly out there as well. But, I mean, he paddled out and he went out for about 15 minutes before the actual I think it was before the Yago heat. I can't remember now, or the final, but ultimately it must have been the Yago heat. And he got 4 waves in a row where he did 2 or 3 air reverses on every single one of them, just warming up. And then the heat started and he started falling with his first few rides. And it was like, he might have overcooked it here, but then he kind of found his rhythm again. But on that heat, and maybe a little segue for you guys is just some of the wave selection at times and how crucial that was with priority. In that Yago heat particularly, but there's a bunch of others. I mean, I think that was kind of the storyline of the event, to be honest.
What happened with Morgs? Last wave, 10 seconds to go. Was that a positioning error or what happened there? Because the webcast didn't really kind of show it too well.
Yeah, he just paddled too far out and wide. So, like, there's a little bit of like a corner boil, and it's through all the tides, there's this corner. Like it's basically from the point where the wave is breaking literally across and you're chasing it to it bends around and comes down the point, right? And that corner moves around based on tide, swell angles, and everything like that. And so, you're always looking for that corner. You're always trying to line it up based on, what you might know about where to be. And there's a few little things that you use on land and so on, of course, but he just kind of paddled too far out. But what happens out there on that kind of, it's gone from low, it's coming in, but it's not come back onto the reef yet. So there's still like a moment it's transitioning from like sandbar and rock to like finally just on the reef. And when that happens, some of them will break out there and flop. And did you see how sometimes they'd take off and get a little stuck behind, or maybe mistime the first section because of the flop, and they'd try sometimes to hit it, and that flop's quite awkward to deal with. So that flop that happens, and really it doesn't break any further along from there. It just starts to kind of bend in from that point, but it can be like a chip-in spot. And so through that heat, there'd been a few that had peaked on that, and he kind of went out to that zone, and everyone's yelling. It was like the last wave. It looked like a bomb, and he just paddled too far out and missed it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it easily could have been if surfed correctly. I mean, it hit the reef and it peeled perfectly for quite a while. He would have had to go to town, but I mean, the way he was surfing, like I think it had the score on it for sure. It had the possibility.
I reckon
it wasn't like a definite no. Let's say that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, I reckon he stared at the ceiling fan all night that night, just going, I wonder.
Yeah,
making like such an easy mistake, but the way you framed it is, you can see how it happened, right? Like, it's just a tricky lineup.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just want to go back to you as well, to your point on Carissa that you made earlier, because I kind of agree with you there in that they weren't necessarily doing the same maneuvers that the blokes were doing. But I felt like, especially Carissa and Sawyer, they seemed to almost have the best read on that wave throughout the entirety of the event. And especially coming into sort of quarters, semis, finals, seemed like Carissa was finding every wave that she was able to go straight from the bottom, straight to the top, like 3 or 4 times in a row. And you didn't even really say that on the men's. Like, she was going vert three maneuvers in a row, which there were no carves in between. Like, really impressive. And it kind of, when you said that before, it stood out to me as well, because I thought Sawyer, of the goofy footers in the event, was she made the final. She was definitely the best in the event. But someone that I hadn't seen too much of before surfing her forehand, but her and Carissa especially seemed to have the best read over that wave.
They definitely did. And look, you're never going to take anything away from the 5 times world champ and the surfing she was doing. But she did get the last heat 3 days in a row when golden hour struck. And golden hour at Manu Bay is when it just starts to line up and the wind drops and the sets pulse. And it's always on an incoming, tide as the day ends. And the mission gets very clear. Like, you've just got a product and a wall in front of you that is finally just serving it up, And so with that said, like, the lines that I enjoyed that she took, because I still saw her, really adapt and read well, she got the best of it. But what I enjoyed is, like, no single wave was really kind of surfed the same. She always set the wave up right. And where you take off from, like, even that 9 in the final, she had to do a pretty standard, kind of just coming back to the source, and then it really served up. And she took off on that. So it's not even just how she read the wave once on it, how she read the wave when choosing to go. That was really what stood out. So she was able to kind of identify, I think, some of the nuances around wave selection and the ones that would hit the reef and, give her opportunity. And, I can go on about, she got the good conditions, but so did others in her heat, and they didn't execute, right? And, I think Betty Lou was one of the standout surfers of the event. I really do. And I know she was obviously going to be, she was very disappointed after that heat because she just was on the complete wrong side of rhythm, but her wave selection just let her down. And the way that she was seeing the lumps and the walls as they approached versus Carissa was what stood out. I mean, I saw her look at waves and let them go that I was like, this is not a good one, and she wouldn't go. And I'd be like, this is a good one, and she'd go. And it was just, I didn't see her make any mistakes, and I mean, honestly, I think it was kind of like, it seemed like everything was going her way, but she didn't make the mistakes for the rhythm to go the other way. That was more to the point. And so, Gabby, I honestly think Gabby was doing the best backhand turns of any girl or any lady in that event still to, as a totality of what I saw throughout the kind of warm up and everything like that. But, in her heat, it was a little trickier with conditions and just some selection, wave selection things are what kind of ultimately let her down, going to the first wave of a set when there was a really good one behind it twice. And, if you make those mistakes once, it's usually enough, but particularly if it's twice. And I mean, she almost made the heat anyway on far inferior waves. It was sort of just over a point, difference. So it shows her surfing. But when you have Carissa's experience and knowledge, and I think, for some of those younger girls, that was just what stood out, like time in that seat experience, and they'll start to make less mistakes like that and, ultimately be on better waves as a result. So yeah, even the Yago heat that we kind of touched on, obviously it finished and due to the seal incident or was put on hold, and then it came back, which kind of changes rhythm and everything. But he sat there for a long time and he took off on a, like, honestly, it was like a 2-footer. And I know he was thinking like, oh, this might do the air thing. Well, the next wave that came, Idolo got was the highest wave score of the whole heat, and that was it. Like, he had control, and it was kind of nice to see the pros making some of those mistakes still, like it kind of makes you realize like, man, even at the elite level, like pressure and new waves and learning an environment can still present, mistakes, which, yeah, you kind of think they're almost never can make.
It kind of felt to me is like I got a group chat with a couple of lads that we just talked shit about surfing, and I was like, the seal beat Yago in that heat because it seemed like he had it fairly well under control, and then heat stops, resumes afterwards, and it almost like he started second guessing himself a little bit where he hadn't done that the entire event, and sure enough, Idolo surfed and found himself back in that rhythm, and Yago kind of got left at the bus stop.
Totally, and he didn't make any mistakes, I think, up until that point. Like, he let Idolo go waves that Yago should not have gone. He was holding priority. They started it after a 15-wave set. Like, we're all up and there watching, and the set rolls in, and we're just like, whoa, they're in the lineup. The set goes, and then as soon as it finishes, they started the heat. It was crazy. Like, even that, if they just saw the set and put it on, I reckon Yago wins. You know, like, he would just, like, there was so many obviously good waves in that set. They started after it. I think it was roughly a 12-minute lull, and so then some scrappy ones come in, and Idolo gets going, and he just finally thinks, I got to go. And instantly after that, finally a proper set comes, and Idolo, I think he got a 9, right? I can't remember the score, but it was like, bang, there's the best wave of the set, of the heat so far. And, in the end, it was the best wave of the heat, and, through its totality. And yeah, just sometimes things don't go your way, right? And it's not actually your fault, but yeah, it was kind of one of those.
It was an interesting one at the end of that heat too, because I remember Idolo had just got one. I think he hit the lead, and then he got dropped out the back with the ski, and it looked like Yago was going to get his final chance. And Idolo was paddling in, and he was too far out for the first one, but you could see there was more waves in the set, and it was like Idolo was never going to catch that first wave, but Yago still made the decision to go, and he fell, which, I mean, it was on its way to a big score if he hadn't fallen. Seemed like the one behind it was going to be the better wave anyway, and it meant Idolo wouldn't have been able to catch that wave also, so it would have been like 2-in-1, but I think maybe end of the heat, he just went, all right, there's a wave here, I'm going, but maybe a chance there to sort of flip it and get the 2-for-1 on Idolo.
Yeah, and I think he finally just saw a good wave in front of him again. If you take that morning and how much time since been on hold and getting back out there, and then those early mistakes can be hard to let them go. And one of the unique things too that happened over the event is like the first, smaller swell that came in with all those kind of big lulls. We had huge outgoing tides through the day, right? Which I'm sure got spoken about online and people probably picked up. But ultimately, Raglan on a smaller swell with not a lot of good period, it's an outgoing tide, it just sucks the life out of the day, right? And so that's why we're getting those late pulses in the evening when it finally turned and pushed in. But when we have those sorts of smaller swells with those big tides and outgoing, wave 1 in the set is typically the best. So watching and preparing for my athletes, like, I worked out that over the course of one particular day, 7 heats in a row, the surfer that took off on wave 1 was on average getting a point higher than the surfer that took off on wave 2. So basically, it's just a fact of a matter to go the first wave, and you should have a point better score, and then you can get back out into priority and control the next exchange. Lulls were like 12 minutes at times, so you weren't going to get very many bites at the apple to change that rhythm. Like, if you're on wave 2 and back into wave 2 again, like there's pretty much a good part of 3/4 of the heat, right? So one of the tactics with Gabby in her first heat was like, do not take off. Like in that first exchange, the other thing I worked out is that day, whoever took off first in the heat in those 7 heats lost, because everyone was taking off up the point trying to push each other, and someone would finally go. And that wave might turn into a 5, but it was never going to be an excellent score. So everyone that actually took off first lost for like a series of heats in a row that day. And so I said, no matter what, don't take off first, and then don't take off on the second wave. Wait for the next lull. Wait for the lull and take off on the first wave. So she controlled that first heat really well with that strategy, you know, and basically getting in the rhythm of wave 1, not relenting to panicking and taking an inferior wave up the point and that whole, you know, jostling thing. But once the swell hit and the tides got smaller, which was this last weekend, wave 1 was not the best wave at all. Like it was like the little feeder one before the you know, the pulsey swells come, put more water over the reef, all that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people didn't adapt to that change, and that's where I saw a lot of like, oh, this looks good, and I'll go. And yeah, then there was just bombs behind it at times. So yeah, I don't know, you know, a lot of the other people involved may not have picked that up about Raglan because, you know, it's a new wave on tour. But yeah, there was a lot of that, I guess, panic of thinking that wave 1 was still the right wave.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to know, what was everyone doing during the downtime? Because it's pretty extensive downtime. It's hard to keep motivated and keep yourself kind of on ice or warm, either way which you look at it. But yeah, did you see, you know, many crew just kind of doing something out of the ordinary, or is it pretty well just go have a look at New Zealand sites and get to enjoy it?
Pretty much, yeah. Everyone just took off and did their thing. Like I didn't see many of the pros around for like 5 or 6 days because, you know, Money Bay's flat. A lot of them were going to Ruapiki, which you might have seen, you know, online, which is the beach break around. But after a couple of days of that, like it's a small car park. It was like cars were getting stuck and, you know, having to get pushed off, like, you know, out of gravel pitfalls and all this stuff because there's just too much traffic around there. They just started exploring, I think, going around to, you know, Hobbiton Town and off to waterfalls and just checking out some of the, you know, beautiful parts of NZ that were close by. But yeah, you know, there was a few dinners going down and a few little industry things that were happening. So you'd see a lot of maybe, you know, those involved in running the event, but the athletes themselves I kind of just didn't see them for like almost a week. It was quite bizarre. But I think if you're chasing them, like a lot of the photographers were trying to figure out where they'd be and get the content and get the shots, and they seemed to find them around. But yeah, it was a pretty chill week for sure that week.
Yep. And what about on the ground there? Was the event site, it looked through the webcast busy, and it looked like the Groms and the adults and guys and girls were all down there in support. Like, did it feel like it was elevated like it usually is at other locations?
Definitely. Like, obviously it's hard to kind of go from what the Goldie just produced and then to this, because that was like probably the most, you know, people we've seen at an event, I don't know, since like, feels like the Huntington Beach like riot days or something crazy. But look, New Zealand, the thing that they loved about the crowd is like everyone was pretty respectful and chill. Like, we don't get pros here much, so it wasn't like a whole lot of just crazy fans were just like them trying to like grab them and get their signatures and grab their shirt. It was more like, can I please have a photo, you know? And so they really enjoyed it. And the lead up to the busiest days, when there was training days and so on, a lot of people got enough of an experience with the pros to, and the pros got to give that experience without the pressure of the competition day or without like huge crowds. And so I felt like once the comp got underway, everyone was quite happy just to sit back and watch the surfing. Yeah, there was lots of Groms still frothing and running up and trying to get signatures and all those sorts of things. But it definitely packed out. And you know, I don't know how it looked on the webcast, but there was a solid crowd. Like, it was pretty, you know, it was pretty manic around in terms of like how many people were there to fan surfing and yeah, appreciate the sport. And I was pretty proud actually that NZ turned out like that to kind of show how much, you know, we love the sport and we want to see more of this in the country. And yeah, I think the surfers enjoyed it too.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how many Brazilian flags were there at this one? Because Gold Coast, it was probably an 8 out of 10. What about
But
the ditch?
yeah, it's hard to compare to the Goldie, but there's probably more noise when the Brazilians surf than the Kiwis, which is still, I guess, it's like a per capita thing, right? Like they're still like on a percentage level, they still manage to find enough numbers to be heard. But that I will say, obviously the Brazilians were ripping this event, right? And it almost was somewhat cool to see their support in New Zealand because they were really, I don't know, they were putting on a show and they were really making a lot of time for the fans in general. Yeah, I think of all the athletes, I felt like the Brazilians interact with the fans more and kind of give them like that responsive energy, maybe because that's maybe the Brazilian culture. But yeah, there was definitely a lot. It was good to see a lot of Hawaiians turn out too, though, for Carissa. That was cool because we've got a pretty cross-pollinated culture there with the Polynesian side.
See.
And what about Arlo? He would have had a field day.
Mate, I think his best moment was when Ethan threw him his wax and he used it on his board, and he was just like, I've got the magic stick now. Yeah, he had a field day. Do you know what? The Rising Tides, up until the last day of surfing, scored the best waves of the entire waiting period, which was the day before the comp started, like before the first day the comp started. It was a Thursday, and it was solid 4 foot plus, perfect, Money Bay. So he was in that, and they scored pumping waves. He got to jump off the rocks with Medina and Italo, and talk shit with him. So he was pretty pumped.
Yeah, that's unreal.
One more for you before we let you go. Thank you for your time again, Matty, as well. Thoughts on Philippe riding a 20 or a 2+1?
Glad you asked that, because I kind of have these mental notes, but I don't put them down. And one of the things that I was like, I need to talk about was, look, bold calls, but that's what we're here for, right? As a coach, you got to back your opinion. I don't think he adapted to the size the day he lost, and he needed to get off that 20, right? I don't know how it looked on the broadcast, but like it definitely looked good in the flatter, smaller days where it was just projecting and gave him that down the line speed. And, as I mentioned, that disconnect that was presenting itself on the first few days, like you needed a fast board to get through the flats. You needed a quick transitional first turn. And then you needed a board that would still go north to south once you got down the sandbar. And I feel like a lot of surfers were riding too much rail to achieve all of that, on their backhands particularly. So I was trying to like advise those that, would listen to me to like just squash it all down and get the squash tail out and don't be afraid. I mean, a cool story. Italo changed his whole equipment and got a brand new board shaped off a New Zealand shaper within 24 hours. And I mean, that's what he won on. Because he identified, eventually that, he had lower rails and more rocker and a little bit more rail line on those blue boards he had. They just weren't quite right for Money Bay's weight, pocket and wall. So yeah, back to Philippe. He still looked great, obviously, but there was a couple of those bottom turns that looked like it lost a little bit of drive and just weren't biting to go real, again, north to south where he could have. He still flared them and he still pushed the tail, but it just kind of limited, I think, the transitions, and therefore, like, half a point there or a point there, and that's really all that came down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it felt like as well, I think he got, just from memory, he had a wave potentially to turn the heat in the heat he actually lost in, and that it became pretty obvious to me as well, like you said, the board probably cost him on that day, just how much shorter and how flat it was too. Like he came out of the on a steeper section and just pearled, and on his shorty, it just never would have happened. Like he would have been up and straight into the next turn. So I mean, it seemed like it had positives. Obviously, it did really well for him throughout the start of it, but yeah, maybe the wrong equipment choice on the day he lost.
Yeah, I think so. And look, I just tonight, just with the hello we've chucked on the final, like just hadn't seen anything right. And what blew me away, which I know about Raglan, but not looking at it from this angle the entire event, like how glary the broadcast can be, right? Yeah. And so because they're looking straight on to that evening sunset, and the scaffolding for the athlete zone was all quite side on. So you got to see a lot of that bottom turn, kind of like the approach lines and just some of those things I don't think you would have picked up on the broadcast. And to your comment about that turn, if you saw it side on. The bottom turn really skipped a little on him.
Yeah, okay.
And so, just, how it is when you're on a twin +1 on your backhand, it just goes a little, just gives a bit, and you don't quite get that, entry line you want to just crack it back down, and you kind of almost pull it off on a different angle off the top as a result, and then that nose comes down and catches on you. And so, I mean, Philippe's obviously, those guys can adjust and everything more than anyone. Nonetheless, he still was dealing with that, I think, in that heat when he wouldn't have been on, his normal ball, well, another option, right?
Yeah. Well, he did something that not many have done this year, which is beat Medina. So to do it on a twin +1, I don't know. Would be particularly happy about losing that one. Someone riding a twin.
Nah. that was a slow heat. That one. That was hard to watch.
For sure.
One last one for you, actually. Billy, how's he feeling after that? Because it was a lot of hype there to at least see him get a few heats under his belt. But obviously a tough one early up. Was he all right after it? Was he in high spirits?
Billy's always in high spirits. I think it's a question you need to ask him how he truly felt. From my perspective, I think it hurt a lot, and it was obviously an event he believes he could have gone quite far in, and he does know the wave, but it's one of those classic, I think, reality moments where, when you get to this level, everyone can fucking surf, man, and people can roast the guys that aren't making it out of round one, what have you, but they're still elite surfers, man. And look at Morgs. He's not as globally known, but the guy absolutely shreds, and fuck, that backhand is lethal. And some of us knew it, Aussies knew it, but I don't think the world knew it. I knew it was a really tough draw for Billy. With that, watching Morgs in the free surfs and everything. With that said, I know Billy on his day can match it with him, but a lot of pressure. I think it was just maybe a bit too much noise and pressure, and he had a lot of media responsibilities, and it came down to it, and unfortunately, and I know they know it. All three of our wildcards, just wave selection let them down at the end of the day, and even to see someone with that much wave knowledge of the break like Billy still, maybe just get a little bit, in that kind of panic mode where you're, I got to get another one and force it. Where it's rich of me to sit on the sidelines and say that. God knows what I would have bloody done, but it's a shame he maybe just didn't get a really good canvas to show a bit more of what he can do, win or loss. I think that would have been nice for him, but yeah, he had a great week. I mean, I'm sure he enjoyed it, and still got to surf a WCT event as home break. I mean, what a dream.